Let's welcome in, shall we? Gab Marcotti is with us. Gab, what's been interesting is what we've been hearing from Jose Mourinho in regard to the points deduction that has now been confirmed. I think I'm right, it's now confirmed to 10 points. Obviously, initially it was 15. He suggested that he would have played games differently if he knew the position of Juventus and that point deduction was going to, in fact, be 10 points.
Yeah, and I think he's not the only one, by the way. Simone Inzaghi pretty much said the same thing at different times. I mean, what Mourinho means here is they had the 15-point penalty. Then the penalty went away on appeal. It was sent back to the lower court to reevaluate. And so for that period, you know, Jose looked at the table and said, all right, we're never going to make top four. But look, you know, we're doing really well in the Europa League. Let's focus on that. So he played reserves in a bunch of games, as did Inzaghi at one point, as did Milan, of course. But then the 10 points come back, or the 10-point penalty comes back, and all of a sudden, Jose's looking at this and says, well, hang on a minute. If I had played my starters, if I knew this was coming back, I would have played stronger squads, and I would be, you know, have a legit shot at finishing top four because Juve would be behind me. So I think he has a very, very valid point on this occasion.
Gab, I mentioned before, 10 points, is that done now? That is definitely going to happen.
No, well, Juve said that they have, they're going to wait for the written motivations. They can go and they can appeal it again to the same court that kind of knocked it back before. The difficulty here with them appealing again is they can only appeal based on procedural matters and whatnot, and they have the judgment from the higher court already that said no, you know, this court is entitled to go and assess your penalty. So they can't go into the merit. They can simply go into matters of jurisdiction and technicalities. So it would seem like a long shot, but you know, they'll read the court's motivations and see if there's any grounds for an appeal. But I don't think it's anything that Juventus are banking on at this stage.
Just away from the points deduction, but sticking with Juventus, Gab, Vlahovic to Chelsea. Any truth in this? Where's this coming from?
Well, I think it's pretty obvious that Vlahovic is what Juventus, you know, from one perspective, is a saleable asset. The man is 22 years old. He's obviously, he's a tremendous athlete. He's got good technique. He works very, very hard. You know, he is a modern all-around center forward, if that's what you're looking for. That said, I think some people are putting kind of two and two together. First of all, if Juve need to raise funds, he's obviously somebody that will bring in funds, but equally, maybe not the most funds because he hasn't had a good season this year at all, and wasn't great either after moving from Fiorentina to Juve last year. So, so from Juve's perspective, you can hang on to him, you can develop him a bit further. Then even if you do sell him, you'll get more money. The other thing, from Chelsea's perspective, as of right now, correct me if I'm wrong, we've all been told Mauricio Pochettino has agreed. He hasn't actually put pen to paper yet. They haven't announced that he's actually signed. So you wonder actually kind of what's going on there. Is there a master plan? And is Vlahovic the profile of the center forward that, you know, Chelsea actually need right now? Also, he's on really big wages, and you know the new course with Iqbali and Boli is, you know, not to pay those crazy salaries. They'll spend on transfer fees for young players who they think are worth it, but you know they're not going to push the boat out crazily on salaries. So I'm a little bit skeptical unless the new manager says, yeah, I definitely want Vlahovic. Go get me Vlahovic or bust.
Yeah, Frank, they should just buy him. Then if he's rubbish, buy someone else.
No, but I'm also skeptical, like Gab, but on Vlahovic points in a way that strikers are pretty rare. Good strikers, very good strikers are pretty rare right nowadays. And I guess they're all wanted by the top clubs. So why the point to go to Chelsea where you know that next season you're not going to play the Champions League? That's also a very good point. It's what I was putting ahead of everything, because yes, Juventus is not going to play the Champions League as well, according to what Gab just explained to us before, and the deduction of the points. But I guess he can go to anywhere else, and maybe Bayern Munich, for example, or any other team which can play the Champions League. So I don't know if it's a good thing for him. I think it's a good thing for Chelsea if they can get him, and because they have so much money, the way shouldn't be a problem. Well.
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube, and for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app, and for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.